I see more people joining the session. So we'll start as other people continue to join us. So hi everyone, I'm Margaret. I'm from Kenya. I am 24 years old and I represent Strategic Community Development Organization in Kenya. I am a youth advocate and I'm also a member of the She Leads. So for the purposes of getting familiar with each other and knowing everyone, kindly we can introduce ourselves in the group chat as we continue. Thank you. You can tell us your name, you can tell us what you do, probably your age, but it's not compulsory. You can also tell us how you're excited about the day today, the International Day of the Girl Child. Thank you. Feel free. Now, we value respecting each other, so kindly let's be professional for safeguarding purposes. Here is the contact. You can contact, the contact will be put on the chat, so for any reasons you can contact uh, the contact. So today, as we all know, is the International Day of the Girl Child, and we are celebrating 10 years. To mark this day, the young people, the She Leads advocates, are going to facilitate a session that is on how to deliver, how to gain confidence, and how to give a powerful advocacy statement. So if you're a young person with an interest in advocacy, then you are in the right place. As I mentioned earlier, for safeguarding purposes, there's a contact person that has been put on the group chat. You can use that contact. This meeting will be recorded and later on shared in the IDG Forum website. In case you're called to speak, you can turn your video on, but it is not compulsory. You can just use the video if you're not comfortable, the audio, sorry, if you're not comfortable. Be free. This is a safe space. Be comfortable so that it can be a success. Also, today we are joined by language interpreters. Uh, as you sit down on your gadget, there's the plus where is written interpretation available in 4 languages. So you select the language there. The languages are English, French, Spanish, and Arabic. You'll notice you can choose anyone for the purpose of interpretation. Also, we have American Sign Language interpreters uh, today. By at the end of this session, we'll be equipped with knowledge on what is a powerful statement, why it needs to be written, who can write a powerful statement, and who are the audience that you can address in writing a powerful statement, the confidence skills and the self-esteem that is needed to make the delivery process successful. It is going to be an interactive session, and I hope everyone is excited as I am. Once again, welcome. Over to you, Anek Paula.
Sorry. Thank you, Margaret. Our fellow youth advocates, representatives from different organizations, hello, girls and young women, I greet you all. I'm a net polarizer from Tribalizers Mentoring Foundation under the She Leads project in Uganda. Allow me to appreciate Plan International for giving me this platform to share with you why experience and having a powerful statement are very important in building confidence in our advocacy journey as girls and young women. As a young woman, the International Day of the Girl Child holds great importance to me. It provides a platform where our views can gain prominence and be addressed. However, as young advocates, we need to be fully equipped and knowledgeable enough to be able to utilize this day that provides us. Confidence is built especially when one knows what is to be advocated. An advocacy statement allows us to duty bearers and decision makers in our communities. If we do not package it well, our views and messages will not be acted upon, hence killing our spirit to advocate. I remember on the 16th activism, I was asked to give a speech on behalf of the girls and young women, but I was in panic and fear because I wasn't prepared, and I was challenged by a girl from the city who wanted to give a speech on my behalf. I had to stand my grounds and defend myself. Why do I say this? If I was prepared earlier on, this fear wouldn't have been aroused. Since we are the grassroots ground implementers of the project, would wish to be included in your planning agendas so that we can feel that our views are being honored and respected. And we also feel that we are also part of the decisions that are taking place. An advocacy statement that is well stated demands attention, time, and consideration from those it is delivered to. It can be a tool that can be used to influence and compel leaders to, towards the required action for girls and young women's rights and also gender equality as a whole. For an advocacy statement to be meaningful, it should be necessary and adequate
إنسيدنس
to be able to
مغزى صميمية وتسمع
formuler les différentes problématiques
that is needed to address the problem. In order to properly deliver an advocacy statement, we need to be fully prepared to know when, to whom, what, with whom, to wrong or time can be ineffective, no matter how powerful the message may be. This is where experience matters. Fellow advocates, they say experience is the best teacher. I personally, I was able to learn many things in my advocacy journey over time. The confidence and knowledge all came with time. When I had just started my advocacy journey with the She Leads project, I did not possess many of the advocacy skills I have now. I did not know that I needed to develop an advocacy plan, identify different strategies for different advocacy targets, and also find appropriate means of delivery of my advocacy message to different organizations and groups. All this was learned through constant mentorship and exposure. In a nutshell, I'm an advocate you see today because of the constant mentorship and experience from the Tribalizers Mentoring Foundation, and I'm an advocate you see today because of Tribalizers Mentoring Foundation and people who mentored me. Lastly, but not least, I would also like to appreciate the EcoSoc Youth Forum, where through it I was able to build my confidence, be linked to different organizations like All Youth Foundation of Africa, AYO for short, which has been able to save 45 girls from child marriage in northern part of Ghana. Thanks to Tribalizers Mentoring Foundation, AYO, and Plan International for shaping me into a confident advocate, and I'll spread my wings high, knowing that I'm not alone in the fight and I will live an impactful life. My advice is, do not fear challenges, do not fear to learn and explore. Get a mentor who is willing, number two, get a mentor who is willing to support your growth during the advocacy journey. No one loves you more than you love yourself, so always it starts with you. Do not forget why we are here. Live a purposeful life and be an example. Number 4, write it down, Habakkuk 2:2. Always write your visions and your work down and make plans for your advocacy. Remember, if you believe it, you can achieve it. An advocacy journey is everyone's effort. Thank you for listening. Let's keep the fire burning. Together we can. Thank you for God and my country.
Hello, everyone. I'm Lynn, 17-year-old from Lebanon. And now I'm going to kick off this next workshop. And so that we get to know what gender equality really means. So now the screen will be shared. Okay, so we're gonna play a little game called Is it a myth or a fact? So to play this game, I'm gonna say the sentence, and then to interact, you can put your hand up or you can write in the chat your opinion. So let's get started. Women are better at multitasking. What do you think of this one? I really encourage you to put your hand up or you can write on the chat. Okay, so Margaret said that it's a fact. Okay, so according to studies, no human brain is able to perform well when multitasking. But a study also showed that multitasking reduced performance by 77% in men versus 66% in women. So it's either a fact or a myth. Now to the next one. Women are less competitive at work and therefore better at teamwork. What do you think of this one? Okay. Margaret said it's a myth. What about the others? Lillian said it's a myth. Okay, so let's figure out. It's a myth, correct. Experiments carried out by Stockholm School of Economics show that across all the different activities, girls and boys were equally competitive. And now to the next slide. Anyone can be a feminist, not necessarily women only. What about this one? I really encourage you to put your hand up to give your opinion. Okay, so. Yes, Margaret?
It's a fact.
Okay, Rachel said it's a fact.
It's a fact.
It's a fact. Okay, let's figure out. Fact, any person who believes in gender equality is a feminist. Now to the next one. Women just don't make good leaders. What about this one? Is it a myth or a fact? Okay, so Lillian said it's a myth. Let's see the others.
It's a myth.
It's a myth, okay. Let's see, it's a myth, correct? Leadership is not about whether you are a woman or a man. Having a great strategy and being able to execute it have nothing to do with gender. Now to the final slide. These are the links that you can join them, visit them for more information. And thank you all for interacting, and we'll pass to my colleague, Rachel now.
Yes, hi everyone. My name is Rachel from Uganda. I Shedits youth advocate, 25 years old. I'm from Integrated Disabled Women Activities. I'm living with a physical disability, and I advocate for rights of girls and young women living with disabilities. So I'll be taking us through sexual reproductive health rights, accessibility and inclusion of girls and young women with disabilities, Please, it will be an interactive session, and feel free to put up your question, to put up your hand when I pose a question, and my colleague Lily will pick up on you to speak. Please feel at home. And my first discussion will be about SRH. Now, the UN and many other organizations through universal pledges, they pledge to include all people without leaving no one behind. But unfortunately, girls and young women with disabilities and persons with disabilities continue to be left behind in most of the activities in terms of SRH, in terms of accessibility and inclusion. This is on a sad note, and statistically, globally, the world has over 1 billion persons living with disabilities, and about a fifth of the population of women comprises of girls and young women living with disabilities. And according to Uganda Bureau of Statistics, females with disabilities are 1.5 times more than males having disabilities, and females having disabilities are more likely not to get married compared to men with disabilities. Why am I trying to tell you this? It's a bigger number of girls and young women living with disabilities compared to males, and then compared to other people who do not have disabilities. And colleagues, we should not forget to put it in mind that due to the stigma associated with disability, often census respondents try to keep the actual number of persons with disabilities in home states, and this has really resulted into an invisible population of girls and young women living with disabilities. So this justifies why governments and organizations give or supply inadequate resources to cover for our SRH rights. And due to the multiple intersectioning discriminations on the basis of our gender, sex, and age, we are kept in the dark to the full realizations of our SRH rights and services. So often doctors, nurses, and our parents are making decisions for us, depending on our bodies, they make decisions for us. They force us to get married at a tender age. They force us to go through permanent and unsafe family planning methods without our consent. And this has really put our life behind and on a negative side of it. So colleagues, this makes me pose my first question. And please feel free to put up your hand or put in the chat the answers or your points to the questions. So my first question is, what are the gaps of SRH of girls and young women with disabilities in your countries? And what should governments or organizations or decision makers do to bridge these gaps? Do we have anyone who can come in and give us their points? Please let us have ideas from your countries. Let us see the SRH gaps in your countries and what should governments do about it. Yes. Yes, yes, Paula, Anek Paula.
Why are the gaps? The gaps are there. There are very many big gaps, especially in the SRHR, since it is not like maybe included in government schools or even the community to see that people with disabilities attain SRHR. Even those that are not living with disabilities still are not attaining. So there is a big wide gap that even those living without disability are not getting the SRHR service. And what I would suggest the government to do or organizations to do is to ensure that SR, HR are included in schools, like for it to be like a subject that is added on the curriculum to see that everyone can attain it and everyone can achieve it, like even right from schools and to higher institutes, because that is where the gap is.
Thank you so much. Yes, Arab.
Thank you very much. I wanted to say about the situation in Jordan and the Middle East, because SRHR is considered as confidential and remains a taboo. For most people, educated and uneducated community, and also people don't engage with the SRHR topics because they fear the stigma of the community. So and sometimes there is misconceptions of the SRHR because of they think that SRHR is only for the LGBTQ community, and Jordan is a Muslim country. So because of that, I suggest that the government should include the SRHR topics in the educational system. And also when they explain religion for children and young women. So basically, it's not just a problem that girls and young women face. It's also like, it's a taboo in Jordan. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Yes, Betty. Betty.
Thank you so much for the opportunity given to me. I'm Havene Betty and I'm a girl and young man advocate from Bujiri and I'm Kobadi. For me, what I would say about the gaps, first of all, there is a gap in the dissemination of information. Most of the communities are not aware of those services. So we may say that girls are facing a lot of challenges, even if they are facing those challenges, but are they aware that the services are available? Are the services available? Like, is the community aware of all the services that are being implemented about SRH services? Like, they lack even the importance of those services, because you will tell a girl and young woman that it is of it all. So my recommendation will be that there is need for us to advocate for awareness of communities on the importances of SRH services, then create awareness of on the availability of those services, for example, in our health centers. And if they don't exist, for example, in my community, you find that even health centers, and you find the health center really doesn't have a youth-friendly corner. So we expect to find those services in a youth-friendly corner, but they don't exist. So my recommendation on that is that we advocate for the increase on the budget given to the health sectors so that they can also improve on the services such as family planning, access to condoms, access to sexuality education, and also we advocate for it to be implemented in public areas such as sub-counties, like schools, and even at those, let me say, hotels, guest houses where people go for pleasure. So if we create awareness on the importances of using condoms, that will be of great value to us as girls and young women. Thank you so much.
Now, us girls with disabilities, our voices are often not heard. We are always on the lower side of everything. Our inputs are not recognized. They are underrated. We are not taking part, or we are not given a chance to take lead or part in decision-making processes or lead processes. Yet we know very well that our abilities as girls with disabilities are not dependent on our disabilities because we have all it takes to do that the society thinks we cannot do. And remember, nothing without us is for us. So colleagues, that makes me go to my next question, which is open for discussion from you. And it goes, according to 2030 agenda for SDGs, which clearly states that disability can't be a reason or criteria for lack of access to development programs and realization of human rights. How should governments or organizations, or what should governments do to ensure that girls and young women with disabilities are included in development programs? Is anyone ready to answer? Yes, Betty?
First of all, being disabled is not inability. So what, as girls and young women advocates, if we are advocating, let's first of all ensure that we let our government know that the challenges we are facing, such as access to services that we want, access to schools. Most of the schools are not tailor-made. That they don't have those spaces where even pushing a wheelchair to go to the class is a challenge. So this is the way we advocate to the government and tell them to make all services tailor-made for persons with disabilities. For example, those ones with hearing impairments, let's advocate for the government to implement, to employ like sign language.
Hello, I can't hear you anymore, Betty. Hello, Betty, I can't hear you.
Am I heard now?
Yes, you're now heard.
So I was like, let's also advocate for the planning. If they're planning for construction of these schools like building, let them cater for the people with disabilities. So if accessing, can a person with a wheelchair access that building up there? Can they look at implementing the buildings that go up to high? So we need to advocate for all the services to be tailor-made for all persons with disabilities, even those ones that cannot see. We advocate for implementation.
Sorry, we've lost you again. Betty, we can't hear you. Okay, I think yeah, we've lost her. So let's go to Arab. Yes, Arab.
Arub. Okay. They should include the girls and young women, like mainstream the disability and the development agenda, whether in the government agenda or NGOs agenda. Also, the development project should be inclusive and accessible. And we should have like, okay, if we had the training inclusive for girls and young women with disability, so also we should have a training for the employees how to include them in this program. Also the facilities should be easy to use from girls and young women with disability. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your inputs. We're really grateful. And let's go to my final question, my final presentation point, which is about accessibility. And now, according to UN's Article 9 on Convention of the Rights of Disabilities, which is about accessibility, it states that to enable persons with disabilities to live independently and have access to to physical environment and virtual environment, member states should at least put in place all facilities to enable us access them, just like others without disabilities are accessing them. So we realize in our countries, most of our countries, now like here in Uganda, most of the facilities are inaccessible, the buildings are inaccessible, transport is inaccessible, yet that included accessibility to transport, to physical environment, virtual environment, accessibility to information and technology, including technological devices. But we realize even our devices, technological devices, are not accessible to most of the persons with disabilities, to the girls and young women with disabilities. They are not accessible. The information, most of the information is not accessible to girls. For example, those who have hearing impairments, those who have visual impairments. So that makes us go to the next question, which is how should governments or organizations make physical and virtual places accessible and disability friendly? Do you have anyone who can answer?
May I answer it?
Yes, it's fine.
Okay, thank you. So for the virtual atmosphere, or yes, for the virtual atmosphere, it should consider the persons with disability, like have a sign language translator, and also have a keyboard in a Braille language. And for the physical places, we should have ramps, washrooms that is facilitated for persons with disability, elevators, and persons who can support or help them in that space. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah, can we get any new voices from people who have not spoken before? If you want to give in your submission, yes, you're very welcome. Feel free. Feel free. This is our session, please. Is there anyone else who would like to speak if you've not spoken before? Okay, then colleagues, I think you've really realized that many laws have been made. Yes. Yes, Linda. Linda, please go ahead.
Hello.
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 Yes.
Yes.
Hello.
So, okay. Yeah. So I think government organizations can create safe spaces for this. Hello. Should I
Yes.
go on?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Yes. So to make places disability friendly, I think the government should create safe spaces for these people. Safe spaces where when they assess, they'll feel they are very safe, and then no one will even upon them because of them. Because looking at our buildings, most of them are not disability friendly. So it's up to the government to create a place where these people even have their meetings or even go there to just reflect on their thinking.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Linda, and whoever contributed. Really appreciate. And we've realized that many laws have been made, laws after laws, policies after policies, and yet in actual sense, very little or small is done about it. Yes, before I proceed, Antonio, I've seen your hand up. Yes, Antonio. I mean, Atta, yes.
I have something to add kindly as we continue.
Yes.
I think also the government should include young people in decision-making processes. Especially, for example, in my country, Kenya, we just had a new election, so we have a new government. So what is on stage on this new dawn currently is the country integrated planning development. So in development plans, like especially the long-term ones for a country, they should involve the young people and hear their voices. In this way, they will have inclusion and diversity and be able to make policies and make plans and rules that are inclusive to cover for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Maggie. Yes, I think we can now move on. Colleagues, let's join our hands together. We've realized many laws have been made, many policies have been made, but little or less is done about it. Therefore, it's my responsibility as an advocate for girls and young women with disabilities to continue shedding light on the unique challenges facing girls and young women with disabilities. Over to my colleague, Marion.
Hello, everyone. Hello. Good day, everyone. My name is Marian, and I'm from Sierra Leone. Hello, everyone. My name is Marian, and I'm from Sierra Leone, and I'm a young advocate on gender equality and FGM. That's the female genital mutilation. Well, growing up, I have never dreamt of becoming an advocate. It all started after an incident happened in my country wherein a girl aged 15 died from FGM, that's the female genital mutilation. And she died because of excess bleeding. That's because the help given to her was not enough to save her life. And also, that's the time that I realized that there were so many harmful cultural practices going on in my country and around the world, and there's not much been done about it. That's the time I decided to go into advocacy because I want to stand up in the fight against FGM and also other harmful cultural practices. Well, becoming an advocate wasn't really easy for me because I was not bold enough, and I found it difficult to share my ideas with a large number of people. Well, my mom was my inspiration at that time, and she helped me by getting me to join various school clubs like the LNDS, that's the Literary and Debating Society, and also the anti-violence movement. That's because of those clubs, I was able to participate in a quiz competition and build my confidence, and that's how I was able to share my ideas with people. And so that's how I got into advocacy. Most time people get into advocacy saying, oh, there's money. But I think it's more advisable to go into advocacy, not because of the money, but because of the change you wish to see. Okay, that's all I have to say today, guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Marian, so much for your speech. And now we will continue with our sessions. Hello, everyone. My name is Lillian. She leads Youth Advocate from Lebanon. I'm glad to have the opportunity on this particular day to share with you some tips, hoping that it will be an asset to you. After learning the importance of advocacy in the previous sessions from my fellow colleagues, I'll be giving you a brief overview, highlighting few tips and advices and a general outline that to always keep in mind before giving a powerful statement. Now, before we start, as you can see, it's being a bit an active sessions. I'll be asking you the following question. In your opinion, what do you think it's the important tips, the most important tips to keep in mind when delivering a powerful statement? Please raise your hands if you want to speak or write in the comments. Your participation is highly smiled upon. Yes, Margaret, please go on.
I think it is good to know your area of passion. Focus on something that you know, focus on something that you can get facts about, so that when you start speaking and standing for these things and uh, speaking and representing this thing and speaking it loud, you're able to know what you're talking about. It could be something that you've been doing. For example, I am passionate about youth, so I could be talking about the youth or talking for the youth. So it is important to stand for something that you are passionate about, something that if asked, I can debate upon, something if I asked, I can support and defend with clear facts. Thank you.
Thank you, Margaret. Paula, you may speak.
My other reason, it's better to know the audience that you're advocating to. After getting to know your passion about your advocacy, like the passion you have, like for instance, I have passion in girls and young women's rights, and also girls' child education. So my targeted area would be the children.
Okay, thank you so much, Paula. And it's true, what you said, and Margaret is correct. Basically, first of all, you have to really know yourself and your cause really importantly and well. Like, what's your area of passion precisely on advocacy? It's fine to have multiple areas of interest, but you have to be focused on specifically one, or you have to interlink them all together. For example, if we're talking about children's rights, as Paula mentioned, from your interest, or young girls and women's rights, or for example, climate, you can interlink them all together. For example, how climate change affects the rights of children and women, and you can shed the light on that. But it's highly important to stay focused and know exactly your cause and yourself. This will help you majorly in identifying the purpose of your powerful statement. Now we'll head to the next slide, please. Now, the methods you should use, or most probably you want to use before trying to write and deliver your statement, it's the WH questions, which is the who, the what, and the where. It's like, what's actually your problem, or the problem and cause that you are advocating for? Like, when did it start? A duration of time, Is it something, a crisis occurred before? It's a current crisis that it's happening, or some like a crisis that it's been passing on until nowadays that you need current solutions for. And then where? Is it locally, regionally, or internationally? Something that it's related to you within your small community, or it's something related by everyone over the globe. And then also we go to who we are addressing to. Government officials, international organizations, local organizations, entities, corporations, and so on, like by whom, to whom, and who are the people are affected by this kind of problem or causes. And of course, we have to shed the light on the demands. The demands section is always important. Like when we shed the light on the problem and the causes and the consequences and results, there's always should be like an alternatives and solution people would want to find or seek or thriving from their government officials to implement. So your demands can be smart, as in specific, they can be measurable, achievable, and also realistic and time-bound, so that it can help you to be more concise, more clear, and more effective. And it's also highly important to vision these things and to like have a clear idea of how you'd imagine the world or your home country would want if these demands are implemented and met. Now, of course, you can use operative clauses, but I will explain about this one. I'll tip it to you guys later. Now we can go to the third slide, please. And then we will be discussing about the fundamentals. In this section, we chose to call it Name It Fundamentals because these are the basics that everyone should have and gain and work on to be able to deliver and write a statement to be addressed to officials or to some certain entity. For example, you have to be using clear and pronounced words, for example, as I am right now. Stress on and emphasize on the words and terminology that you'd want to use to be able to deliver your message. Focus on your communication skills, like avoiding use some and some other words that can be an obstacle to be able to deliver your message. And always use credible sources and information to back up your statement and speech. Refer to real experiences, refer to data and articles and researches done. And at some times you can also use governmental agreements and any speeches or statements done by officials as well. Body language is really highly important. We were talking about the writing section, but it's also highly important to focus on the body language when delivering a statement, the posture, the eye contact, the hand gestures, and all of that. Now, before I jump to the third slide, I would like to ask you, is there anything you think that it should be in the fundamentals section that you think it's missed out or it's important to be added? Again, you can raise your hand if you'd want to talk, or you can type it down in the comment section. Yes, Lynn, please go on.
I would say like a real life example, maybe an experience. Okay.
Anyone else? For the comments, please, you can add them.
Okay.
Yes, please go on.
No, it's fine. I can add it on the comments on the chat box.
Please feel free, Arif, to say it if you'd want.
Okay, my question is like the 3 points. We can like make it's applicable to do it on the physical spaces, but on the digital one, how we gonna use our body language? How can we replace it with other signs?
This is a really great question. And of course, if you don't have an access to a camera, it won't be the same basically like that. You're seeing me, but you can't fully see my body language, the way I'm explaining and talking. This is why it's highly important to focus then on the content of your written statement in case you're delivering the words, specific terminology.
التي سوف تستعملونها في هذا الخطاب. ما هي
and the problem. What's your main problem? Be clear about it. And what are your demands? Be concise, clear, and emphasize on that. This will help you to deliver your message properly, even without a body language. But it's always better if you are orally delivering a statement, like body language is always essential. But since we are in a digital world now and virtually, we came up with such alternatives that the content should be focused on rather than the body language and outer.
Yes, Lillian.
Hope this answered your question.
Yes, thank you, Lillian.
If you have any questions, everyone, please add it to the comment section below, and then we will answer that later on. But now, if you have to add anything related to this slide specifically or remarks, that would be actually really great.
Yes,
and
Lillian,
Rachel, go on.
I was thinking additives on the fundamentals. It should also emotionally connect with the audience to prompt them into action. Yeah, if you don't have provision to use body language, you can put the emotional bit of it into the writing so that you prompt the decision makers into action.
That's excellent remark. That's indeed. And I'd have to also add confidence and self-esteem, in which my previous colleagues also shed the light on when giving and delivering an oral statement. For it to be powerful, you should work on the body posture will bring immediately. You should have confidence on the words and the material that you're sharing, on the cause that you are advocating for, and that you're not intimidated by the environment around you. To be all focused on that is also an asset and a fundamental. So now I'll be going on to the next slide. I'll be sharing with you a sum all to everything, which is the 5 P's in presenting. We've already discussed a few important ones about them, which is related to the planning and preparing. Once you prepare the WH questions, you brainstorm your ideas and have it all organized. It's part of you being able to reach that level of you delivering. So we start with planning and preparing to help you be constant about the material that you already have on hand. And this, by adding it more practice, will eventually lead you to a better performance. So it's always highly to keep these 5 in your mind before delivering a powerful statement. And eventually, for now, I'll be sharing with you an extra tip, which is an outline, not for just focusing on your oral statement, but to also focus on the written one. As you can see, it includes an introduction, a general to specific one, or a general one. Basically, it should be focused about your context, the background context of the problems and the causes. And it can be referred to the number 1 of know yourself and know your cause. What's the purpose of the statement that you are writing and who you are addressing to, and highlighting and emphasizing on the problems always. Then in the body, you can include the WH methods that can help you shape an outline or your main topics that can be added in your outline. In addition, to be backed up, as you all shared and said, statistics, real life experiences and stories is also highly important, and any data that can support your problem. And for the most important section that you should all focus on is always the demands and recommendations. And you have to be super precise about them. Well, if you would want to use the SMART method, or if you'd like to use it in operative structure clauses that I'll be giving you an overlook right now about. And eventually, and lastly, we'd be focusing on the closure, which is emphasizing on the problem and also adding your vision that you'd expect to be met once your demands are worked upon or recommended. Like how do you vision the world would be if these problems are solved. As you can see, I've highlighted these words and terminology basically in red because these are the strong words that can be used. These are like basically an examples. There can be more, which is when we are calling up upon member states to take such demands and recommendations into action, we'd be stressing on calls upon or calls for, condemns, strongly condemns, requests or urges before starting our clauses, and it can be taking such format in which we'd be used. One, we write our operative clauses, and then the subunits and topics that we are addressing in such a way. And basically, this is a summary of everything, sums up. Now that you have this information delivered, you can share it or use it to improve it, or as an activity with your friends or yourself, or you can like use it to state your demands on a certain theme or cause or topic. Now, thank you all for listening, and now it's your time to speak again. Does anyone have any question or anything you'd like to ask? You can raise your hands or you can add it in the comment below.
Okay, so now we come. Oh.
Yes, we'll pass it on to.
So now we come to the end of this session. So I would like to thank you all from myself and my youth advocates colleagues for your participation and engagement in this session. And a special thanks to my youth advocates colleagues, Lillian, Margaret, Paula, Marian, and Rachel for sharing their advices and tips and experience, and also for the partners and leaders that worked on this session too. And I would like to let you a reminder that to be confident, to believe in yourself while delivering your advocacy statement, and that we're all looking out for the amazing statements you'll be doing in the future. And also a reminder that, or like an encouragement from all of us to continue joining the other sessions that are going on in this event. And also you can find this recorded meeting in the IDG Forum website. So don't forget to take a look at it. Thank you all again, and goodbye.